welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to write our first code. So I am going to jump over to brackets. If you're using brackets, go ahead and open that. If you're using something else, go ahead and open whatever you are using. And let's get started. All right, so here I am in brackets. If you are using brackets for the first time, you are going to get something that looks like this. This is a sample project that they have that opens as soon as you open brackets for the first time. Over here on the left, what I'm seeing is my file manager. Basically, I'm seeing all the files in this project. So in this project, I have an index.html, which is what is open right now, a main.css, which is the styles for that page, and then I have a folder called screenshots, and inside there is an image called quickedit.png, and that's what this image looks like. So if I want to preview what all this code looks like, over here on the right hand side, you'll see an icon that looks like maybe a little lightning bolt type thing here. If I click on that, that is going to give me the live preview. Now it may take a minute to open depending on your computer. Okay, so here is what that page looks like. Let me go ahead and maximize this and zoom out a bit. There we go, that looks a bit better. So this is what that opening page looks like. That's what all that code is creating. Now what I like to do, I usually have two monitors, so I will put my preview and I'll just keep it open in the other monitor. Since I only have one monitor here for the recording purposes, I am going to simply resize brackets and leave the preview open, and we'll work like this. Now I do not want to mess with or start editing and work from this root folder that they have in the sample. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do File, Close All, and then I'm going to open a new folder. And this is going to be the folder where I want to save all of my work. So I'm going to go Open Folder. I put it in OneDrive, and I have a folder called JavaScript Projects, and that's the folder I'm going to open. So I would suggest that you create a folder somewhere in your documents or somewhere where you will want to keep all the files for this course. So I'm going to select that. Okay, now I don't have anything there. There's nothing visible. You can see that underneath my file tree here, there is nothing because all I've done is open that folder, but I haven't created any projects or files yet. So let's create a file. So I'm going to go to File, New, and let's just type in something to see what happens, whatever. And then I'm going to save this. So I'm going to come over here where it says Untitled -1. I can either right click and rename it, or I can just go to File, Save As. I'm going to do a File, Save As. I'm going to save this as index.html. Hit Save. Now I have an index page in there. And if you're unfamiliar with web design or web development, the main page of a website or the main page in any directory is usually called like index.html, index.htm, main.html, or something like that. So that's why I'm calling it index.html. And if I come over here and hit refresh, you'll notice that it doesn't change. That's because my live preview is actually still previewing that previous project. So I'm going to go ahead and close that and then open it again. And we will wait and wait. There we go. And you see that I just have the word whatever there. So now I know that it's working. I'm in my JavaScript projects folder. I have an index page, and we're ready to start writing some JavaScript. So in writing JavaScript, the key is we want to use a tag called script. And you'll notice that as soon as I type in script, that it added the end script. It almost looks the same as the script tag. It just adds that little slash in it. That is the end tag. Once again, if you were completely new to this and you've never done anything with HTML, many HTML tags work like this, where you have the opening tag and then the closing tag, and then everything goes in between those two tags. That's where we want all of our JavaScript to be, is in between this opening script tag and the ending script tag. If you were using something just like plain old Notepad or just a basic text editor, you wouldn't get the help like that where it's finishing. That's why I like to use something like brackets or Sublime or any of those other options that I talked about in the previous lesson, because they're going to help you with your coding and speed up the coding process. So for our first code, we're going to write something like this. It's going to be a document, And you can see once again, brackets is trying to help me. As soon as I start to write in document, it brings up some options, and document is what I want. And then I'm going to hit dot, or the period, and it brings up a whole host of functions that I can choose that go along with this document setting. What we're going to do is document.write, and instead of scrolling all the way down to the W's, I'm just going to start typing that in. So document.write, and then I'm just going to do the traditional. If you've done any other coding or programming, you'll know that everybody starts off with hello world for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but everybody starts with writing hello world to the screen. So that's what we're going to do. Document.write, so I'm writing to the document hello world. And notice I put it in quotes. And then I need to end with a semicolon. And I'm going to go ahead and save this, Control S, and then I'm going to come over here and hit refresh. And there we go, hello world. We just wrote our first JavaScript. Now, just to point out some useful things, let's say I forget that and I save it and I hit refresh here. Nothing shows up. Well, what's going on? You may have this happen at times where you're writing code and then it's not working the way you want it to, or you get a blank screen like this. Well, the great part about modern browsers, like I talked about in the last lesson, is they have developer tools, and they usually have some type of console that can tell us where our errors are. So in Chrome, to find those developer tools, I'm going to come up here to the three dots, click the drop down, go down to more tools, and here are my developer tools, or Control-Shift-I. And right here we are in the console. Oftentimes they'll open by default to the elements, and you'll need to click on console, but mine opened by default to the console because I'd already used it. Must have been the last thing I had open. And we see that we have an uncaught syntax error, an invalid or unexpected token. Now when you're first beginning, this is probably not going to mean a whole lot to you. But the useful part of this that will help you is this part over here, index.html, and then this :2 means my error is occurring on line 2. So even if you don't know what any of this other stuff means, that tells us, hey, I need to go look at line 2 of my document. So that is this line, which is obviously our only line of code right now, and there's an error in there somewhere. Now, the meaning of this error, invalid or unexpected token, is that I have my semicolon here ending it, but I never ended the text, so it's not expecting this yet. It's expecting a quote to end my text. So if I put that back in, save it, Control S, hit refresh, it works. Look at my console. There's nothing in the console now because there are no errors. So that's just a handy little tip. If you ever run into any errors as you are coding and aren't real sure what you did wrong, the developer tools in Chrome, not Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, or Firefox are great tools to help you pinpoint where some of those errors are. So I'll meet you in the next lesson where we will start talking about some of the JavaScript syntax and learn about variables.